Hey, Deserving listeners, a lot of you have been emailing me and commenting below, asking me to watch the Taylor Swift documentary from 2020 called Miss Americana. And I finally have time to do that right now, so I'm going to watch it and react to it. Let's see what happens. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor.
Glass quill with like an ink jet. You know, my entire moral code as a kid and now is a need to be thought of as good.
Okay, so it starts off with her talking about the journals that she would keep when she was younger, as a teen, as a young person. And I will say that I also have been keeping a diary or a journal since I was 13. It was and has been a very important part of my life, journaling. And then she said it was her mission in life to be good, or I wonder if she'll elaborate on that.
Belief system that I subscribed to as a kid. Do the right thing. Do the good thing. And obviously I'm not a perfect person by any stretch, but overall the main thing that I always tried to be was like a good girl.
Yeah, I'm curious what she means by that exactly. I think that for all of us, we have those thoughts, some more than others, but it sounds like she might be identifying those thoughts as being excessive and not necessarily healthy for her. And she is, I think, saying that, and I thought she would say this, but she didn't, that she didn't feel like she was good enough, that she was always chasing a phantom, always trying to grab at what can I do to make myself good enough. I just have to be better. I have to be a good girl. I have to be good at this. I have to be good at that. And of course, for girls and women, they are particularly made to feel this way because of our misogynistic society and also our culture of requiring women to achieve things that are impossible for people to achieve. Not only physical appearance, of course, but in today's world, you have to be perfectly dressed, you have to be perfectly made up, you have to have a perfect body, but not too perfect. You have to have the perfect personality. You can never be mean, but sometimes you have to be assertive, but not too assertive. You have to have the perfect career and job. You have to be perfect with your politics and your environmentalism. You have to have the perfect home and the perfect food and the perfect furniture, and it's bad for everyone, but particularly for women. And the messages start early, and I wonder if that's what she's talking about.
And now to perform the national anthem, a multi-talented performing artist from Reading, Pennsylvania. Please welcome Taylor Swift.
Okay, so now they're giving us some footage of her childhood performing experience. And I think the inference we're supposed to draw is that the pressure took a toll on her psychology, which isn't surprising, but it's not automatic. You can have kids that are performers who feel secure and good enough. The key is that when we're parenting kids like this, that they are made to feel good enough regardless of how well they perform or what they do. Unconditional love. You want to give children the very strong message that they are good enough, they're smart enough, they're cute enough, whatever the metric is, and that you love them no matter what. That's what my parents gave to me. I remember feeling that. They, I think, explicitly would say it, but I do remember consciously knowing that my parents loved me no matter what happened. It didn't mean I didn't have my anxieties, but it wasn't because I thought that my parents wouldn't love me or pay attention to me. So it's that foundation upon which kids can explore life and maybe go down roads of performing that they put a lot of pressure on themselves. But ultimately, when push comes to shove, they know that they have that foundation. So I wonder what that was like for Taylor Swift. In general, though, what I tell parents is that you want to be careful about having kids do adult-like things. And it's happening more and more, where kids will perform on stage the way adults will, where kids will have pressures like beauty pageants and or be an influencer. Kids are being pressured, or they might feel pressure from society to become an influencer, to create content. And generally speaking, I I say, when in doubt, protect kids from that stuff. There's plenty of time once they're an adult that they can indulge in all those things and still have damage happen. But you definitely don't want those damages to happen when people are young. And some people will make the argument that if you're going to be a successful person like Taylor Swift, you almost have to be obsessed and you have to be driven by some neurosis, some sort of fear of never being good enough. You always have to be motivated, pushing yourself forward, ever striving. For people who don't have that, they don't have that extra oomph to go over the threshold into complete stardom. But I don't think that that's necessarily true.
I'm Taylor.
I've been trained to be happy when you get a lot of praise.
Hi, Taylor.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that she's able to identify this. Not every person who is successful in this arena would have these traumas, but it sounds like she's identifying that for her, that she was trained to only feel good or happy if she was getting that kind of praise. And I wonder who or what it was that trained her. Was it her parents, or was it just the circumstance of performing? I wonder if we'll hear about it.
I was so fulfilled by approval that was it.
I became the person who everyone wanted me to be.
Yeah, I really wonder. I assume in this documentary they get into it, but I'm really curious as to who she would attribute this to, because I wouldn't be surprised if her parents were at least somewhat involved or culpable for creating the circumstances for her to feel a lot of pressure. Now, maybe for her, she feels like, well, it wasn't great, but it wasn't the worst. There are pros and cons to the pressure that I got. And I could say this for myself as an Asian American. I had a lot of pressure regarding grades, as we often will do. And I remember that I felt very bad when I got an A- or a B+ or something, God forbid. And my friends would be getting paid if they got like a B. I think there are pros and cons. The pro to the pressure that they put me under was that I worked hard. I learned how to have a good work ethic. I had a foundation that I could succeed in college. I had an ethic of academics that eventually led to me becoming a professor. So what would have happened if my parents hadn't pressured me and hadn't risked those kinds of negative effects? And the negative effects weren't all that bad. I had anxiety about tests, but maybe that's because I didn't prepare enough or something. Sports is another thing. My family is a very sport-oriented family. My dad, a very sport-oriented guy. A lot of Japanese American relatives of mine, also very sports-oriented for various different reasons. Going back to my grandfather, who was a very well-known athlete in Washington State, Japanese American in baseball and basketball and football. And it was a way for Japanese Americans to get recognition within mainstream culture that they wouldn't normally get. And so sports were a level playing field. If you were good, you were good. It didn't matter what race you were. And so that was passed down to me. And there were a lot of moments where I was lying awake at night worrying about the next wrestling match or the next football game, and I didn't enjoy that. And at the same time, I was captain of the football team. I was captain of the wrestling team and succeeded and felt good about those successes. So, there's a balance there. And at the end of the day, I knew that my parents loved me, but I wonder what she's getting at. But anyway, curious where this is headed. And I want to also say that the rest of these videos, I'm guessing there will be a number of videos that I'll make for this, will just be for members of the YouTube channel. They were the ones who voted for me to do this. And as a way of rewarding those YouTube members, I thought I would do this for them. I don't have a lot of extra time in my life. And so I thought, as a reward for people for becoming a member of this YouTube channel. And by the way, if you want to become a member, click the join button, or there should be a link in the description to become a member. And I'm guessing that if this is pretty dense with this kind of talk, then there will probably be, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 episodes of me watching it. So become a member if you want to watch those episodes. And for you YouTube members, The episodes will be published on Tuesdays, I think is the way we're going to do it. So just watch out for those being published. And everyone, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.